Hi, welcome to video 4. So we are making our little pocket booklet. So far we've made the pockets, we've stuck the pockets together, and we've made our 2 album covers. So now we're going to start creating our album. So what you need to do, you need to measure, fold down the 2 flaps on your spine that aren't attached to a pocket, that are not attached to other pockets, and you need to measure how big that is. Okay, now you can say, well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4/4 inches, but there's the thickness of the card. So mine actually works out, instead of being 1 inch, it's actually 1.25 inches. So I measured 1.25 inches, and then I added on another half an inch. Another inch. So I cut a piece of card that was 2.25. So that measures 1.25. I cut a piece of card that was 2.25 by 4. So that's 4 inches, 1.25 plus 1 inch, so 2.25. And then I scored, so there's my 2.25 piece, 4 inches that way, 2.25 that way. And then I scored half an inch on either side. So I get this piece of card, and then this will fit perfectly over there, and I have checked that it works. Now, depending on the thickness of card you use, you might need more or less than adding on 1 inch. So bear that in mind. Okay, so the function of this piece is it will hold our spine together. So you could use tape. I'm going to stick with using my glue. I found it more successful than tape. You need to hold all your pages together, okay, and you want to put glue across all of these flappy bits, okay, and you don't want to be too shy, and you don't want to miss any of them, because then you're going to have a bit of a disaster. Okay, then you're going to take this piece and you're going to put it over the top. Make sure it's lined up nice and neatly, and you're going to put this on, and I would, if I were you, turn it over, and you're going to press it down. If you press with straight down, the card won't bend. You're going to press this down, okay, like this. And you don't want those to move apart, you want them to stay nice and concertinaed together. Okay, so if you look from the side, I've got a nice perfect fit. Okay, you will get a bit of glue squodging potentially. So if you just get a bit of tissue maybe even. I'll just grab a bit of tissue here. Doesn't really matter, while it's stood up like this, it's drying okay. And just wipe that out. Anywhere there's a bit of squodge of glue, just wipe it out. So what we're doing there is we're just making sure all our pages are held together nice and tightly, and that will fold round there. You can give it a bit of a score if you want to give it a nice neat. So your book will move like that, that's fine. Okay, it's got quite a bit of movement in it. So as long as it's stuck together, you end up with this nice, neat, finished page. Okay. So at this stage now, okay, we can pop our actual album covers on. All right, so it's entirely up to you at this stage, how you stick this together. Okay, so if I show you on this one here, it's not as easy to see on this black one, but here you can see the pages. I've just stuck them there. Okay, so literally just stick them on top. If you're bothered about it showing, you could stick them under the edge of the paper and then put the inside cover on. That's entirely up to you. Okay, entirely up to you. I found it just as easy to do it this way. Okay, so what you want to do, I'll just show you on this one, is you need to get the binding right up to the edge of your base. So this binding needs to be on here. So make sure you've got it the right way around. Put one of your backs down. If your back and your front are different, make sure you get them the right way. So I'm going to put glue just on this flap part here, and I'm not going to go too crazy on the edges because I don't want it to squodge out. So I'm going to pop that on there. Then I'm going to line that up. So remember, it's half an inch bigger either side. Whoops, sorry. So I'm going to pop that on here. Just check it straight. Remember, the good thing about multi-purpose glue, you do have a little bit of wiggle time. Okay, make sure you're happy with that. And then put some glue on your next piece. Again, I'm not going to go too near the edges so it doesn't squodge out on me. You can totally use double-sided tape, that's absolutely fine. Then I'm going to get this base. Need to line it up perfectly with that one. But I also, it's quite important here that we get these lined up evenly this way as well. So we put this on here. Get it all lined up before we hold it in place to dry. If it's not lined up, you can't change it very easily, so spend a second lining it up. Okay, it will dry really quickly. Just go on the inside, open it up, give it a bit of a finish. So if you want, you could absolutely stick on your craft board afterwards. I happen to do it this way. I just find it easier. I don't think it looks unattractive, and it's quite nice and easy to do. So now your book is essentially finished. You can tie a bow here to close your book. It looks good. The only thing we've got is the spine. Okay, so for the spine, right, I show you on this finished one the spine, how it works. So if we open it up, you can see that the spine that we created here, this brown spine, that does not touch the new spine we're going to make. Okay, so again, this is another one of those ones where you need to kind of work out how wide your spine needs to be. So last time we said 1.5 inches. So in theory, 1.5 inches should be fine. So I'm going to get back my chipboard from before. Here we go. I'm going to get back my chipboard from before. So I need this to be, I think, about 1.25 inches. Sorry, 1.25 inches, sorry, my mistake. So I'm going to go at 1.25 inches, which is going to be easier said than done. It's quite narrow. Pop that on there. You're going to keep moving, aren't you? There you go, 1.25 inches. Get that one out of the way. So I don't want to cut it, it won't cut. And then my book is 5 inches. So I'll score at 5 inches. There we go. I'm going to cut that out and I'm going to see what it looks like, because some of this is a little bit of trial and error. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's fine. So it just fits in that space. Okay, it just fits in there. So that will be the spine of my book. So we don't, the first thing we need to do is we don't want it to be ugly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just cover what will be the inner facing of the chipboard. So you'll barely see this, but if you didn't cover it, then you would see it. It will be all that you could see. So just stick that on here with a bit of a gap around it. Not too much. Trim that off like that. There we go. And then just do our little trick from before, the notches on all the corners. So like I said, this is actually going to be the inner facing. I could have done it in the brown craft, it doesn't really matter. There's no right or wrong. So just like when we covered the book, you need to get these edges in and sharp, otherwise it will look a bit of a mess. So get these, not too much glue, but don't be too conservative either. Get these in. If a bit of glue squodges here, it's not the end of the world, because actually you're going to cover all this up again. So let's make sure that's all happy to stick down. There we go. So that's the inside of my book. So the idea is that when it's there and you can literally just see it poking out, it looks neat. And then you need to decide what you want the book to be trimmed in. So on this one, I've used black to trim it. You don't have to. So just check, is it wide enough? Yes. What do you want to trim it in? So I think I'm tempted to go in paper this time. So I don't know. I could use this blue, I guess. That might work quite nicely down the edge. I might use that blue. Okay, so what you need to do this time, okay, we want to get quite a nice finish on here. Okay, we want a nice strong finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at how big this piece is. So I want 4 inches. Let's look at how big that is. That's 6, so we can do an inch, can't we? So if we score just under 5 on each side, literally an eighth under. So I've taken off. Oh no, it's 5 inches, isn't it? Sorry, my mistake. Do that again. So just under a ½ inch on each side. Sorry. So 3/8 essentially. And fold that way. We're doing the blue, aren't we? Alright, so we just need to just check if that's big enough. No. So let's use a different piece of paper. So if we do 6 inches, like so, 6 inches, maybe just over 1/4 inch instead. So let's just do just over 1/4 inch. So that's for, let's try that. It is really trial and error, I'm afraid. I've just got a little bit of overhang there. So that's just over 1/4 inch on that side. Let's do just over 1/4 inch on this side. Fold that blue down. I don't really need a piece of paper this big. I'll trim it in a minute. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's good. Right, so then decide how much overlap you want. So how much, you don't want a lot because it'll end up looking a bit of a mess. About that much. So what we're going for, about 5 inches. About 5 inches. Okay. Let's just check that. I'm actually going to do a tiny bit further on, I'm afraid. So this is all to do with the thickness of your chipboard. So I'm actually just doing slightly over 1/4 inch, but not a half. So just between 1/4 and a ½ inch, I'm actually gonna make that. You'll see why, because otherwise you'll get a bare bit of paper. So if you line that up, yeah, that's better. I'm happier with that. Okay. So now what you want to do is this piece. Okay, we did at 5 inches, so you need to score at 2.5. Just gently at the top and at the bottom, like so. And gets this little piece. And it was 1.5 inches, so we want 1.25 inches, wasn't it? I'll probably do that by hand actually. So we just got on there. Like that. Just got our halfway mark. So we're going to stick this on here. Okay. So just where our halfway mark is. So again, enough glue, but not too much around the edges. So now this little spine piece is going to stick just in the middle, like so. go. And that's just going to stick there. Now the reason that we folded this over was just so we didn't have any raw edges. Okay, now if you want, you can fold over this edge as well. But I probably will decorate that, so I'm not too bothered. So you want to fold these in. Give yourself a bit of a score before it gets stuck together. Fold this one in. And give yourself a bit of a score, like so. So remember, this spine isn't going to have any glue on it. That's quite important. So this spine's going to stick on here, like so, but it's not going to have glue. The glue is going to be on the blue bits, the side bits, sorry. Okay, so it's important you don't put any on that spine, so that when we open the book, if I just show you, when we open the book like this, the inner spine actually has movement. Okay, you want that inner spine to be able to move around. So it's entirely up to you really how you do this. I'm going to put a bit of glue under that edge. Put loads of glue. I'm not putting anywhere near the spine though. I don't want that to stick. I'll put some glue, put a bit under there, squidge it out, put a bit over here. You want it right to the edges, but not so much that it's going to come out. And don't put it too near the spine. Okay, make sure the blue bit's got glue on. Just don't have it squidging out. It will be, if you're worried about squidge, just use double-sided tape. Just get a really strong one. And then you're going to line this up on here, like so. Then you're going to fold it over and you're going to line this one up on here, like so. And then you really need to make sure that that is 100% contact stuck. So lay it down flat, give it a glue. Okay, you need to make sure that that sticks. That one's moved a bit on me, so you've got a second, pull it up. Just make sure that is stuck down nice and neatly. Okay, so you do have a second or two to move it before you stuck. Okay, so give it a bit of a squidge. See if it will open up without tearing. Should do. Okay. So now, let's just see which way around it should be. Yep, this is the right way. So it should lie flat once it's stuck. The spine has movement. Okay, where it needs it. All your pages will open independently. There's loads of space between each page so that when you put it together, there's thickness to put in other stuff. You can tie it nice and neatly with the ribbons. And then of course, whatever you do next is you can decorate it, okay? It's entirely up to you how you decorate it. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll show you my decorated album when it's done.